So I'm going to be a little off in this review, and I'm sorry. So my allergies hit me not fun on Wednesday, and Thursday wasn't fun, and this morning has not been fun. I keep coughing and sneezing, so if there's a lot of jump cuts in the review, it's probably because I started coughing or something. Other thing, you will see that there is no Brenda back here. Brenda is currently at the vet. Wednesday, she ate breakfast, didn't eat lunch or dinner, was very slow and lethargic the whole rest of the day and the evening, and had trouble going up and down the stairs. So I took her to the vet yesterday morning, and they kept her pretty much the whole day and all night. And they've done blood work and they've done ultrasounds, and they're just trying to figure out what's going on. They got her kind of rehydrated, so she is doing a bit better there, but she still seems kind of jaundiced, which means she's having like red blood cell issues. So we're not sure what's going on yet, and there wouldn't really be anything I could do with the vet to begin with. So I'm gonna do this. If I get a call in the middle of the review, I'm sorry. The review might be up late. Or whatever. We'll see. But yeah, so well, I'm going to try to focus on the review. If I skip something, I'm sorry. I will try to get the major points that I want to hit. But we'll see what happens. So, chapter 1158, titled Rox versus Harald. So, this is kind of one that's going to where we're going to see the end of the friendship between Rox and Harald. But first, we have the Yamato cover page story, which is still at the graveyard in Ringo. We see Kiku, Ocho, and Yamato all walking away from the gravestone, the grave marker for the person who had been this person who was from the West Blue, but raised in I think it was the Ringo region, and stood up to Kaido, and there is no remnant of them left. And it's like, here lies the Pirate of Justice. And now we finally get to see the name on the gravestone. And for some people, this was like, okay, we weren't expecting that. We kind of thought it was going to be like Shiki or Kyo or someone else in that regard. No, it says Kozuki Moria. So, I'm sitting here going like, okay, if Moria is a Kozuki, does that mean that I have to do an effing video about Moria in my Rulers and Leaders video series? Because I really don't want to. I mean, eventually I'm gonna talk about the Warlords. I've talked about, like, Mingo, Doflamingo already. Eventually, I'd probably end up talking about the other ones, and I've talked about Hancock, so still. But I'm like, I don't really like Moria, but eventually I'll probably end up having to talk about him in some series about that. But I don't really want to talk about him as a ruler of Wano, because he's not. We do know that he had some history with Wano. We know that, I think it was 23 years ago, he was in Wano, and he fought against Kaido. And while he was there, he stole Ryuma's corpse along with Shusui and took them out of Wano, possibly also some other corpses, for all we know. And everything. He also lost the majority of his crew, and that's why he has a zombie crew now. In regards to other info about Moria, he is 50 years old, and he is from the West Blue. So, he's from the West Blue, so that lines up with what we've heard about this person already. It's just kind of, okay, so how does that fit into things with Moria? Because we see him at Roger's execution 24 years ago, 25 years ago, about at this point, whatever it was. And we see him at the execution, and then he ends up going, and he makes a valiant effort, makes it all the way to Wano. But if he had been from Wano to begin with, and then he left Wano to go and be a pirate, or was from the West Blue, raised in Wano, left Wano, and then came back and tried to fight Kaido, maybe he came up with some legend or something about himself that he told the people of Wano, so that's why they revere him as a hero. That's about all I got there. And in regards to the thumbnail that I made, yeah, congrats to Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. I am very happy for them. Unfortunately, it's a meme now, and I had to take the meme while it was in front of me, and it's Emu and Garling X eliminating an island for 2 ginger babies. So we'll get to that one later. So into the actual chapter. So we start off the chapter. We're still at, I think, 40... We ended the last chapter 42 years ago, I believe, with Shaki setting up her bar on Hachinosu. So this is supposed to be a little bit later after that. So sometime between 42 and 41 years ago. And we have a certain sea, Roger's ship, the Oro Jackson. So we see the Oro Jackson sailing around. It still has the egg on it. I'm not really interested in the egg. Other people can be fascinated by it. So we have a bunch of the crew shouting at Roger, and it's just like, I heard Shaki opened up a place on Pirate Island. They say it's unbelievable. And Roger's just standing there on the ledge pouting, on the railing just pouting, which is just funny seeing this man who becomes the king of the pirates just like pouting. And like we got a bunch of the crew members who are like, we're worried we'd never see her again when she quit being Empress. But now we know where she is. Let's go. It's just like, doesn't Rox control Pirate Island? And like, Scopper's just kind of like, And the others are just kind of like, come on, let's go see Shaki. And Scopper goes over to Rayleigh and just kind of like slings his arm over his shoulder. And he's like, say, Rayleigh, is it just me or has Roger been in a bad mood ever since you two spoke in his quarters? And Rayleigh's like, And it's like, what did you discuss? Nothing. So, cut back to, I don't know, a few minutes ago. And Rayleigh and Roger are in Roger's quarters. This is the first time we've really seen inside some of the other rooms on the Oro Jackson. We kind of saw inside of like the sick bay area with Crocus and such when Toki was sick. But this is like one of the few times we're seeing into like Roger's room, which is kind of cool. And we have Rayleigh talking to Roger, and he's like, I wasn't going to say anything to the crew, but I figured I should talk to you one-on-one, Roger. And Roger's like, was this during our last fight with the Kuja Pirates just before she quit? And Rayleigh and Roger yells at him. He's like, Shakuyaku did seem off back then. Like she was sick or something. I worried she stepped down because of her health. But you're telling me she gave you this during that battle? And Rayleigh's like, yeah, I was speechless. And he holds up, it's a love letter, and short, sweet, to the point. And it's just like, this can only be described as a love letter. And it's like, come and make me yours, Shakuyaku. And I'm just like, I mean, for the woman who said she would never be owned by a man, that's saying something. And it's just like, and you're not interested? Roger is not happy, but it was just like, the most beautiful effing woman in the world is interested in you. And you are not interested in her. And really, it's like, I'd be lying if I said that. I just don't want to be tied down. And Roger's like, well, I do. And I'm like, Roger, give yourself another 20-something, whatever years, and you're gonna kind of be tied down, and then you're gonna go and leave her. Yeah. And then Roger's just like, come on, man, I ain't giving up. And it's just like, okay, he's energetic. We're all heading to Pirate Island. And Roger's like, pirates live to plunder, and we don't stop till the prize is claimed. Ain't that right, fellas? And they're like, yeah! And it's just like, is he still talking about Shaki? And they're just laughing. I have not memorized all the members of Roger's crew, so I'm not going to worry about names on a lot of these guys, because I just don't know them. So, sorry. You want that expert analysis, go watch Grand Line Review or Tekking. So from there, they're still going. We see the ship sailing off, and it's just like, gotta be. Why else would we go to Roxas Island of all places? It's just like, everyone's got an equal chance. Let's go and get her. And it's just like, Marks, I'm hungry. Make food. I think it's Roger saying that to him. Yeah, because that's Roger. Yep, that's Roger. And he's like, I'm already doing it. I'm already done digging. So Marks is the chef. I know recently in one of the SBSs they went over who a bunch of like the different crew members on the Oro Jackson were on Roger's crew. and what their different jobs were. Mark's is the cook, but I don't remember if that was part of the list or if that was like an afterthought from Oda going like, oh wait, I never gave him a cook. Mark's. So I don't know. So we have sometime later, 40 years ago, the Holy Land of Marijwa. So we've cut to Castle Pangea. And we have, so this is going to be a conversation between young Figureland Garling and the Gorosei. So it's like, you're impatient, Garling. The previous competition just ended. And Garling's like, I'm aware, but while we were completing another assignment, we briefly stopped at that island. To be specific, they are talking about God Valley, and the previous competition would be the previous year's human hunting contest. The previous one from, well, excuse me. This is 40 years ago, so it would have been 41 years ago. And Garling is like, by the way, I still don't really like the color scheme they came up with Garling for the anime. I don't mind him having blonde hair, given what we are going to see in this chapter. His just outfit design color was just like, no, they could have done so much better and made him look so much more intimidating. So Garling is like, it's a non-affiliated state, but it has a unique culture. We tried offering them membership in the world government, but they declined. So we have God's Knight, Figureland family, Saint Garling, future elder. And so he's talking, as I said, he's talking about God Valley. He's like, we gave them the offer to become members of the world government. And it's like, I'm assuming that's kind of the general way that they tend to approach other kingdoms that are non-affiliated and offer them affiliation, offer them membership, if they have something that they want. Like, we know that God Valley is very rich in minerals and mineral deposits and stuff like that, which is like, while their abundant resources would certainly prove valuable for us, we just made an outrageous discovery. And he's in the room of authority with the Gorosei, and they're like, huh? It's like, it was completely unexpected find. It was a completely unexpected find. And Garling is like, and the Great One will surely be pleased with it. In 2 years' time, I strongly urge you to hold the next hunt at God Valley. So, 40 years ago, Shanks and Shamrock are not born yet. We are going to see them at the end of this chapter as babies 39 years ago. So they're not born yet. And at this point in time, they wouldn't even know that those two babies are going to exist yet, unless what Garling is referring to here is their mother. And given the way that he is acting, and given what happens, it's either he found their mother, saw something about her that Imu would approve of, and then either courted her and got her pregnant and then up and ditched her, planning to come and get the babies, or babies, in a few years. Possible. Or he just saw her and does not know that she's going to have children by then. And it might be her bloodline that is the important thing. Maybe she has a connection to Lily, if it's something that the Great One, that Imu would be interested in. It could be a connection to Lily. Maybe it's like, oh, she looks just like Lily, except she has red hair instead of blue, type of a thing. So that's a possibility. Cutting to Pirate Island, Chucky's Ripoff Bar. We have like this very long line of pirates all waiting to try to get into the bar, which is just funny. And I just find that funny. And then it's just like, get in a single file line, idiots. What is, it's that much? I don't have that much that much money. And it's just like, come to the back. You can work it off with 2 years of unpaid labor. What? Again, I just love how this is like very much like, yes, it's Shockey's ripoff bar. You get what you pay for, or you pay it back by working there for however long. I'm sure some would take her up on that offer of just like, okay, I don't have money. Okay, you can work in the back. Okay. Some would take her up on that offer. So we have just like a bunch of the random pirates are like, I came all the way from the North Blue to hear you I hear you serve some great whiskey and that Shocky makes a mean stew. And she's just like, Shocky's pouring out liquor and everything for him. And she's like, a cute compliment like that makes me smile. But I'm not going to cook personally for people like you. What? And then we see that she has a chef on staff who probably is like either working there for free or very reduced wages. It's just like, she's just how I dreamed. I'm so happy. And then the chef comes out and it's just like, Shocky-san, my special bean stew is ready, but we're out of whiskey. Use the cheap rum instead. And then she's just like, anyway, here's our top quality whiskey. 3 cheers for our host's poor service. Which, all of this just reminds me of how she acts when we meet her in Sabaody. The first thing we see her doing is beating up a pirate who did not pay his bill that she ripped him off on. And that's how we're introduced to her. And this is very much that same attitude, because given her skill as a Kuja pirate, she could definitely take a lot of these men down very easily, her beauty notwithstanding. That just makes it even easier for her. But we see how she acts when it comes to people she actually likes serving. Like when the Straw Hats were at the bar, like she was really nice to Chopper. She gave him cotton candy. She gave them a bunch of info. She flirted with Brooke, which is hilarious. She didn't care that Luffy was just in her fridge raiding the fridge the whole time. A bunch of that stuff. She was very nice to them because they were friends of Hachan. Because they had, proved themselves by helping Hachan. And then even later, she knows what happens with them standing up for Hachan and Kami. So it's like they have earned her respect. Plus, she just likes them in general. And then when they show back up again after the 2-year time skip, she's, of course, very happy to see all of them again. And she also, there's kind of this connection to the crew now because, of course, Rayleigh helped train Luffy. So there's, this connection there. And she's kind of like... It's kind of like how, Shanks says that, he bet his arm on the next generation. Shocky is kind of like, I'm putting my money behind these guys. I'm putting my money, my cards, all my money, all my cards. Everything that I have, I'm betting it on them. I'm betting it on the Straw Hats. It's kind of like where Shocky and Rayleigh are, putting their chips. I put it all on Straw Hat. So I like that. So we're kind of seeing some of the makings of that here. It's just like, if you're someone that she genuinely likes... like someone who's a genuine friend of hers or something like that, who she genuinely respects, she'll be a lot nicer to you and probably not rip you off as much. I don't think she ever even ended up ripping off the Straw Hat. She teased Chopper about it, but she didn't actually go through with it. So we have Shocky go over to Rox. She's like, what happened, Rox? I'm kind of sad that satisfied grin isn't for me anymore. And Rox is like, huh? And then we just see this is some of the moments that I do kind of like here that we get to see about the Rox Pirates. Because, the thing that we heard about the Rox Pirates from Sengoku was just... they were backstabbing. They would implode at any minute. They were, stabbing each other in the back for, over a berry or something like that. And it's just we have some moments here where it is kind of like camaraderie. Because we see Big Mom and Rox and Whitebeard and Choco and Stussy are all here sitting around the table at the bar. Just talking. And Big Mom is kind of teasing Rox, and she's like, Mama, see, a woman's intuition is a scary thing, huh? And Rox is like, shut up, I said it's none of your business. And then Whitebeard just has no idea what's going on. And he's like, what's going on? And Stussy is just like, dummy. She's like, it has to do with a woman. The guy's grinning like he's expecting a kid. Now, 40 years ago was when Blackbeard was born. And we do have confirmation that Blackbeard is Rox's son. We've had that confirmation. We had that confirmation when we got the full introduction panel for Rox. But the thing that we're not so sure about at the moment is who the mother is. We don't get that in this chapter either. We know that there is sketch art that Oda made of his mother, but don't know exactly from there. And given the fact that Rox supposedly dies in the next 2 years at God Valley, Blackbeard certainly does not grow up knowing his father. And his name, Marshall D. Teach, the Marshall part probably comes from his mother. And then the, D part probably just comes from either both or just Rox. So we get that. So we kind of have them, teasing Rox here, which is kind of fun. And then we just have the Roger pirates burst into the room. Just like, Shocky, I've come for you. Shocky-san, it's me. It's the Roger pirates. Get a pick, get a pick. So we have like Roger and Scopper and like a bunch of the other ones that are all just like popping in here. And that's just kind of funny. And Shocky's just like, oh, Roger. And then Rox and Roger are just instantly like butting heads. And it's just like, Roger, how many times I gotta tell you that this is my island? Didn't I hear you? Didn't you hear fighting at Shocky's bar is forbidden? So stuff it, you porcupine. Rox and him kind of seem like the way that like Shadow and Sonic kind of are a little bit. And then it's just like, wait, isn't there a huge line out there? How'd you get in here? Did you wait in it? And then it's like we cut outside and like we just see like a bunch of these pirates just all knocked out. Possibly from a combination of Conqueror's Haki and just getting their butts kicked by Roger, which is just hilarious. By Roger and the crew, which is just funny. And it's just like they just went through the entire line and it's just like, now we're at the bar. And Roger's just like, there was a line I hardly noticed. Drink up, everybody. Huh? And then Whitebeard is just like, yeah, no, I'm getting out of here. He's just like, I can't stand these guys. They're so noisy. Same. Whitebeard. Same. And he's like, and they're like, put it on Newgate's tab. And it's just like, nah, leave it on Roxas. Nope. Don't put that on my bill. And then Shocky comes over. Shiki comes over and flirts with Roger. That would be weird. Shocky comes over. She's like, Roger, where's Rayson? And he's like, I told him to come, but he said he couldn't, he wasn't feeling well, so he's napping on the ship. And then we just have Gloriosa just catapult herself at Roger. Roger, is that you? I've waited to see you again so badly. Now let me on your ship. No, Gloriosa, get off. Just like, I told you, I'm not into lovey-dovey women who throw themselves at me. But if Shocky asks, that'd be different. And she's like, but that makes no sense. It's like double standard. Yep. And Shocky just kind of walks off and she's like, I'll pass. And she's just like pouting because she wanted to see Rayleigh, because that's the whole thing here. And she's in love with Rayleigh. She has the love sickness for him already. And that probably started to develop when we saw them interact before in the previous chapter. And it has just subsequently gotten worse, and then she was starting to more feel the effects of it during the last time that they would have interacted with the Roger pirates before this. So Roger's like, And so now we just have this moment where we have Roger, Big Mom, and a couple, some of the other pirates just all sitting around. Which I don't know if we've ever actually seen Roger and Big Mom in the same place. That wasn't like God Valley whenever all shit was going down at God Valley. I don't think we've ever actually seen Roger and Big Mom in the same place. That's something. We know that they interacted, and we know that eventually he does sneak his way into Totland to get the etchings of her road poneglyph, but this is different. So he's like, so, isn't Newgate still here? I want to drink with him. And it's just like, nah, he left, mama. He's like, darn it, Rayleigh, why didn't you come? And then we cut outside on the island to, like, where Rayleigh is just sitting on the ship, and it's just like, we'll deliver, bring Binks' brew. And he's just, like, sitting there singing Binks Sake, which is kind of fun. I kind of liked it. I just liked that they threw that in there. The Oda's just like, nope, panel, Rayleigh is singing Binks' Sake. And then we see Shocky faint. And it's just, Shocky fainted. Emperor Shocky, I'm going to take care of her. Let me help. And then this is where we have Gloriosa's protectiveness of Shocky just kicks in. It's just like, move it, boys. Keep away from her. Because she knows exactly what is going on. She knows exactly what is going on here with Shocky. So it's like, Shakuyaku's rules ensured that anyone coming to the island to visit her establishment would be granted safe passage. Even the fiercest of pirates would keep the peace if they crossed paths. But back at sea, all bets were off. So it's like, if you're on the island and you're there to specifically visit Shocky, you're fine. You can come in peacefully, go to the bar, interact with there, see anybody there that you wanted to see, and then you can peacefully leave the island. Essentially, once you're off the island, all bets are off. Yes. And we see Rox and Roger, you know, those back-to-back type of panels. But that's just fun. You know, we get a couple of great double-page spreads here as we get the title for the chapter going on here. Rox versus Harald, or Harald versus Rox, whichever one it was. And it's like, Realm of the Dead, Elbath. And we see, like, just as all these blasts of, like, Conqueror's Haki just, like, come, being, flung around. And we see Loki and Hyrule are both down here getting, like, hit with these Conqueror's blasts because they're trying to watch this battle between Rox and their father. And we see a bunch of the animals there as well kind of get knocked around by the Haki as well. And, like, they're all watching. We see these great epic panels of, like, Rox and Harald, just, like, their blades clashing together and, like, the size difference in the two of them. As they just get, like, thrown back and forth by each other's Haki and everything. And, each other's just attacks in general. And, of course, this is coming on the heels of where, like, the world government is like, tell Harald we'll allow him to join if he kills Rox. It's like, this is like the aftermath of that. And it's just like, Harald, the government's really got you around their finger, huh? Just like, and Harald's like, I was torn. And it's just like, is it really something really worth killing your friend over in regards to, like, is joining the world government mean that much to you to kill your friend? And in the end, you just bow down to him, dumbass. You're being their tool. And so it's like they're just shouting at each other as they're fighting. And it's just like, is this their answer? There's just always a week or two throughout the summer where some reason my frickin' allergies just kick in and they start kicking my butt. And I just have to power through it. Particularly if I have work, I have to very much power through it. So Rox is saying it's just like, they see the Giants as nothing more than military asset. You'll be enslaved as soldiers. Rox isn't necessarily wrong. That is exactly how the world government views the Giants. And it's just like, what happened to your warrior's pride? Don't you have your own will? It's like, quit talking like you know everything. So it's like they're just clashing back and forth. And it's just like, and Harald's like, our warriors created a history of violence. Elbath is shackled by it, held back from achieving true peace. And then we have little flashbacks of him interacting with other kingdoms. So it's like, you seem to have a good heart, Harald, but a long time ago, this country was attacked by giants. And it's just like this, these tiny little humans compared to Harald, just like explaining this. And we just see the sorrow on Harald's face. Just like, that kind of fear doesn't fade so easily. Sorry. And, it's like, and these are probably ones that Harald has tried to work to earn their trust, but it's just like, there's just a lot of bad blood there from, however many generations ago of someone being attacked. Of the Giants attacking the village. And, I can't really blame them of attacking that kingdom, so I can't really blame them. It's like, listen, Rox, no matter how foolish the Celestial Dragons may be, they still have the influence in the world to bring Elbath into the loop. And Rox doesn't want to hear this. He's like, stop it. And it's just like, you cowardly rat. And he's just like shooting a huge blast of whatever his attack is at Harald. And it's just kind of like hitting Harald right in the stomach. As I said, I'm doing less of a deep dive on this one than I usually do, so I apologize because my talking is very limited right now, and I still have to go to work later. So we have Rox screaming at Harald, and it's just like, consider our business closed. You won't be getting another invite from me again. And Harald is like, I am a king. I can't throw away my people's lives by following a villain like you into a losing battle. And it's like they clash one more time, and then it's just like the narrator is like, there was no true conclusion, but this unorthodox friendship had come to an end. The two would not meet again for some time, not until the day of a certain incident, where Law, Chopper, or Crocus, or Hongo, or another doctor in the One Piece world that is competent and will not give me poisoned bomb apples. Or is Hogback. Or is Kureha. Okay, I don't really want to be treated by Hero Luck. No offense to Hero Luck, but he wasn't the best. Heart in the right place. Medical degree, non-existent. Where are you when I need you? So that friendship that has lasted for, I think it was over a decade at this point in time, has ended. Very unusual friendship has ended. And we cut back to Elbeth, and we cut back to by the bar. And Loki is just sitting there on the beach, just reading the newspaper, and it's just like, more news about rocks. And Ida comes out, and he's like, he isn't coming back, Loki. And he's like, shut up, you lying hag. And she's like, would you like some juice? Loki. Okay. Which just reminds me very much of just Luffy and Shanks hanging out at the bar. And like Makino just giving Luffy juice, and then Shanks just making fun of Luffy because he likes juice. Or in this case, Rocks probably would have made fun of Loki for wanting juice. So, we cut to last page of the chapter. I gotta get through this page, and then I'm done at least with this part. Then I gotta edit, but at least I don't have to talk while I edit. 5 minutes of me coughing later. Okay. 39 years ago, West Blue, God Valley. So we have like little baby cries going on. And I'm like, aw, 2 twin boys. And we have this woman just pushing the stroller with her 2 little boys in it through the town. And it's just like, oh, they're so cute. And they've got your red hair. Aw. And they're just like, aw, so happy. And they're like, I hope they grow up to be as bright as you. And it's just like, don't worry, we'll pitch in since their daddy is away. It's like, thank you, mister. And it's just like, have you settled on names for them? And she's like, Shanks and Shamrock. So, as I said, either this means that Garling is their father, and he slept with this woman while he was on God Valley, and now they've had children to try to tie them to the bloodline, or her bloodline is special enough, Imu is going to allow for Shamrock to become a celestial dragon, and for Shanks to technically to hold that same type of connection there, or a similar enough connection there. I'm sure a lot of other people are going to have much more detailed theories about this. Eventually, I'll probably get into it when I, A, can talk better again, B, am a little bit less emotionally distressed because we don't know what's going on with Brenda yet. Doesn't help that earlier this week was her 2nd year anniversary of when we got her, so I am not in the mood to try to have to emotionally deal with that. I don't want to deal with that. But that's what we have here. We have 2 little red-haired babies and a mystery mama who we do not see her face. So, we'll see what happens. I thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm sorry there were so many jump cuts with me coughing so much, but it's a shorter video than I normally do for these reviews. So, that's what I have. So, bye!